In 60 seconds, I'll show you how a single piece of paper destroyed an entire family. They laughed at me for a decade. They called me the black sheep. But they didn't know that with every laugh, my plan grew stronger. Stay until the end, and discover the 10-year-old secret that gave me the final checkmate. Believe me, you don't want to miss this. Have you ever felt betrayed? Have you ever seen everything you've built crumble because of the envy and greed of those you trusted most? A recent study revealed that 7 out of 10 inheritance disputes end in the complete destruction of family bonds. I know exactly how that feels. But what you're about to discover today isn't just a story of pain. It's a playbook. Proof that you can reverse any injustice, no matter how deep it runs. You have the power to turn the tables, even when everyone has counted you out. And most importantly, the real victory isn't revenge, but your peace. If you've ever faced a situation where you felt powerless, or if you just love a good comeback story, hit that like button now. It's the first step to unlocking this truth. The seed of betrayal. My story begins exactly 10 years ago, the day my grandfather, the pillar of our family, passed away. He was a man of principles, who built an empire from scratch. And his last will was for the fortune to be divided equally among all his grandchildren. But greed, greed. It has a peculiar smell. And that day, the air was saturated with it. My grandfather wasn't just a businessman. He was a storyteller. And the story he told me on his deathbed was the most important of all. He whispered to me with his last breath, "My grandson, the world is a stage. And people are actors. Some are good, others are evil. But truth is the director. And it always has the final say." I didn't understand what he meant at the time. But those words echoed in my mind for a decade. And they became my mantra. My compass. The problem? The inheritance wasn't infinite. And one of my cousins, the family's darling, thought he deserved more. Much more. He approached me the day after the funeral. With a smile that didn't reach his eyes, he said, "You don't need that much. After all, you were always the dreamer." I didn't know those words would be the beginning of a silent war. A war that would last a decade. And that would change everything. But what he did next, that was unforgivable. 2 weeks later, the family gathered for the reading of the will. The lawyer began to read. And when he got to my part, he hesitated. He looked at me with a mixture of pity and fear. He cleared his throat and said, "For my dreamy grandson, I leave my collection of books. May he find in them the wisdom he didn't find in life." Silence fell. Then my cousin, with a cruel laugh, began to speak. "Why would he leave him books? He needs money." As the lawyer read the forged will, I could feel the pitying and contemptuous glances of my family. They reveled in my humiliation. My cousin, the heir, even put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, little cousin. I'll always give you a plate of food." I looked into his eyes. And I saw the satisfaction. The cruelty. And at that moment, I made a promise to myself. A promise that one day, he would regret those words. My cousin, with the help of an influential uncle, had threatened the lawyer's career and family. They forged my grandfather's signature. I left that room without saying a word. Humiliated. Devastated. But with a burning flame inside me. They thought they had one. But they forgot one detail. A small detail my grandfather told me on his deathbed. And that was worth more than all the fortune. For the next 10 years, I disappeared. While they flaunted my grandfather's fortune, I invested in the only thing they couldn't take from me, knowledge. I moved to a small town where no one knew me. And I started to study. Day and night. I devoured books on law, finance, psychology. I became an expert in all the areas my grandfather mastered. I used the books my grandfather left me. And in each of them, there was an annotation. A lesson. Advice. It was as if he was guiding me. And while I studied, I also investigated. I hired the best private detectives. And they uncovered all my family's dirty secrets. The illegal dealings, the betrayals, the lies. They thought I was broken. But I was building. In silence. Away from prying eyes. While their fortune, anchored in material possessions, depreciated over time, my value, anchored in wisdom and strategy, multiplied. I waited. Patiently. For 10 years. I built my own empire, in the shadows. And I prepared for the day I would return. For the day I would collect the debt. And then, on the 10th anniversary of my grandfather's death, I received an invitation. A party at the family mansion. To celebrate their success. I arrived at the party. The same mansion where I was humiliated. The party was a spectacle of ostentation. Expensive champagne, exotic foods, and fake smiles everywhere. It was the circus of high society, and my relatives were the main clowns. My cousin, the heir, greeted me with a forced hug. Look who decided to show up. I thought you had become a hermit. I watched my cousin from afar. He was the center of attention, telling exaggerated stories about his achievements. He was the king of a house of cards, and I was the wind that was about to blow. He started talking about his successes, the trips, the cars. Trying to make me feel like I had lost everything. But I knew he was missing the real show. As he spoke, my eyes scanned the room. And then, I saw her. My grandfather's lawyer. The same one who read the will. She saw me. And her face paled. As if she had seen a ghost. I knew she was keeping a secret. And I was about to unearth it. I knew the lawyer would be there. She was the only missing piece in my puzzle. And when our eyes met, I saw the panic on her face. She knew the game was over. I approached her. My heart pounding. The moment of truth was coming. But what she revealed to me next, that would change the game forever. And my family would never be the same. I cornered her near the library. The same library where my grandfather kept his secrets. I know everything, I said, my voice a deadly whisper. And you're going to help me fix this. You know, don't you? I asked the lawyer, my voice low but firm. She tried to look away, but I didn't allow it. The will, it was altered. I was forced. She told me everything. My cousin, with the help of an influential uncle, threatened her career and family. They forged my grandfather's signature. They threatened me, they said they would destroy my career, my family. But why now? I asked. Why are you telling me this now? And you thought hiding behind fear would be the solution. Fear doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. But I can set you free. Because I can't take it anymore. And because I saw what you became. You're the only person who can fix this. Inside that envelope was the proof. The proof I had waited 10 years for. The proof that would expose everyone. But what would I do with it? And how would I turn this truth into my greatest victory? The answer was about to shock everyone at the party. With the envelope in hand, I walked to the center of the hall. The music stopped. All eyes turned to me. When I stepped onto the makeshift stage, I was no longer the dreamy grandson. I was the ghost of the past, the herald of truth. And my voice was the thunder that would announce the storm. Good evening, everyone, I began. It's an honor to be here, celebrating our family's prosperity. Especially the prosperity my grandfather worked so hard to build. My grandfather, a man of unparalleled wisdom, taught me that true wealth is not in what you accumulate, but in what you share. And in the truth you defend. You feasted on lies for a decade, I said, looking directly at my cousin and uncle. But the feast is over. 10 years ago, on the day of his funeral, an act of greed tried to rewrite history. Oil was forged. And the truth was buried. But the truth, like water, always finds its way. And today, it overflows. And now, the bill has arrived. I held up the original will, and the silence in the room was deafening. It was the silence that precedes the fall of an empire. This document, I said, holding up the paper, is the irrefutable proof. And the reaction of some here already says it all. But what happened next? That was the climax no one expected. Not even me. I revealed the original will. The one my grandfather hid in a safe, with a message for me. The truth came to light. The shock was palpable. The facade crumbled. The silence was broken only by the sound of the original will being read. Every word, a stake in the heart of the facade they built. The lawyer, with a choked voice, confirmed the authenticity of the document and the fraud that had been committed. My cousin and uncle tried to deny it, but the evidence was irrefutable. The lawyer, with tears in her eyes, confirmed every word. The room fell silent, except for the murmurs of shock and indignation. My cousin and uncle, once so arrogant, were now just shadows of themselves. Their faces, once full of mockery, were pale and sweaty. The mask had fallen. They lost everything. Their fortune, their reputation, their respect. Greed blinded them, and the truth set them free, from their own lies. Justice, which seemed so distant for 10 years, finally manifested itself. It wasn't petty revenge, but the restoration of truth. It was proof that, no matter how powerful evil may seem, light always finds a way. They were taken away. And the mansion, the symbol of their greed, was sold. My grandfather's fortune was finally used for the purpose he desired, to help those who truly needed it. But the story doesn't end here. What I did with the fortune I recovered, that was the real revenge. And the lesson I learned, changed my life forever. You've seen how a single decision can change a family's destiny. How greed can blind, and how truth, no matter how long it takes, always comes to light. This isn't just my story. It's the story of everyone who has ever been underestimated, betrayed, or humiliated. It's proof that resilience, patience, and the pursuit of truth are the greatest weapons you can have. Remember, you have the power to reverse injustices, to turn the tables, and to find your peace. No matter how difficult the situation seems. Don't wait 10 years like I did. Act now. If you have a story of overcoming, share it in the comments. Your voice matters. Your experience can be the light someone needs to get out of the darkness. If this story touched you, if it made you feel the adrenaline of revenge and the sweetness of justice, then now is the time to act. Don't let this emotion cool down. The YouTube algorithm is waiting. Every like, every comment, every share you give now, not only validates this story, but also ensures that more people like you, who need to hear this message of overcoming, find it before it's too late. This is your chance to make a difference, to show the world that truth and justice prevail. Don't miss this unique opportunity to be part of something bigger. Thousands of people have already been impacted by stories like this. Join our community of over 3 million subscribers who believe in the power of truth and comeback. Our videos are proof that life always turns around. Don't be left out of this revolution. I shared my most intimate story with you. Now, I ask you, reciprocate that trust. Leave your comment below, telling me what was the biggest injustice you've ever overcome. Your story could be the next to inspire millions. And to anchor this victory, share this video with 3 friends who need a dose of justice in their lives. Join our family of over 3 million people who believe that life is a battlefield, but victory is always possible. We are living proof that truth always prevails. Don't be left out of this community that supports and inspires you every day. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Because in our next video, I'm going to reveal how this revenge led me to an empire no one expected. You won't want to be the only one left out of this next twist. Click now. The future awaits you. And for our next video, get ready for a revelation that will leave you speechless. I'm going to show you how my revenge led me to an empire no one expected. Hit that notification bell and be the first to discover the secret behind my success. Believe me, you won't want to miss the next chapter of this saga.